And like reframing also. So it's like things that cause fear and tension, rather than attaching those so consistently every time, try to reframe it as like, this is exciting. Oh my gosh. It's exciting. It's challenging even. But again, we're trying to reframe. Challenges are good. Challenges are needed. They're needed if you want your life exactly as it is and every little piece of it is just perfect as it is. Great, awesome. You don't need this video. But if you're like watching this and you want something more or different or to change about your life, then accept the challenge that comes in for it, because like, believe it or not, you're always kind of like how the timeline went in 2020 is everyone was forced to pause and take a look at their own lives, spend more time at home, spend more time with their families, spend time with yourself, which is crazy thought. that we needed time to spend with ourselves, away from all the distractions. I think now is a better time than ever to learn how to balance in such a chaotic space. All of our deepest wounds coming to the surface, as well as experiencing the most clarity, presence, awareness, which can be very challenging. It's a lot of stress and pressure to become so aware and present in your own experience, all for the best. And on the external world, all the truth bubbling up to the surface. It freaks us out to see the truth, but the stuff that's been going on and the stuff that's coming to light has been happening, existing in our system and our world for a long time. But in order for something to come to an end, it's coming to the surface so that we can become aware of it, so that we can become involved in its end, in its death. And that's a really good thing. But it also is a lot of work. And a lot of work all at once. Now is an auspicious, I hope auspicious is the right word. What I want to say is fruitful, beneficial, a help. There's a lot of energy in the world to help us move through these challenges, move through our own challenges, so that we can be a better, more present, what's the word? What do I really want to say? More capable of being an external help, an external, dare I say, light. Believe it or not, there is a lot of chances to be successful if you are willing to stand up and face the challenges that are in your life. Since 2020, and I started seeing more people connect with one another and show up in a more authentic way, and I think that was freaking awesome. And I think it's just growing from there. I think the more people are forced to be in solitude, number one, great opportunity to face your own bullshit, and really work through that. That's awesome. Awesome opportunity, awesome chance. And then people really got a chance to heal some of that shit they got going inside. And they were able to be more authentic and show up as themselves in the real world. Like, the more and more people are becoming authentic, the easier and easier it is to connect with one another. What is so important about connection? Literally without connection, you have such an empty life. If you cannot connect with yourself and then go on to connect with others, your life is just so empty and so cold. And I really want to urge anybody out there who is having a hard time connecting with others to stop and see maybe where you've abandoned yourself in any given moment, or let's take the hardest moments when you're triggered. It's so easy to disassociate, disconnect, and do anything to distract your mind and your beingness away from the uncomfortableness, all the way to like the downright pain that we can experience when we're being triggered. And so when we practice over and over this behavior of disconnecting with ourselves, it's extremely painful and to the self. And it only kind of like compounds on each other every time we've done it to the current moment. It just kind of like weighs you down and weighs you down and weighs you down. It gets heavier and heavier. And on one instance, that's a good thing, because in order for you to recognize that something needs to change, it has to become more present in your life and more challenging, so that you're willing to change it, willing to do something about it. Because I know there's been so many instances in my life where I didn't want to do it, so I just didn't. And it became a bigger and bigger sore thorn in my side until, and I this isn't my terminology, but it's wise to say, it's like when the fear of the pain, and the pain becomes greater than the fear of facing whatever it is that's challenging us, that's when we can overcome it. And a lot of the times I feel that's very unfortunate, because I'm like, why is it that I have to feel this pain in order to challenge myself to get into a new space? Like, why can't it just be easy? Why can't it just be obvious? Why can't I just take the steps that I need to in order to move into this new space, so that I might feel peace, so that I might feel happy, that I don't, so I just don't even have to deal with the crap that I was dealing with before. And so a lot of that is learning to reframe the experience that you're having. Learning to, I know this is going to sound like maybe impossible, but like learning to be grateful for the pain, learning to be grateful for the challenge, and not even just grateful, but like facing it head on, like looking at it, like being present with it, being aware with it. So it's like one thing I know I wanted to talk about today was like what to do as you're being triggered. So, because this is like, okay, one of the best ways. Is it the best way? Or what's the best way to define this? One of the most, I think, badass ways, one of the most warrior mindset ways, one of the take the head off this snake ways to work on yourself is be very, very present during your triggers. And so when you are triggered, your mind starts telling you stories. Like a lot of like physiological things happen and neurological things happen to take you out of the prefrontal cortex of your brain, but takes you back into the lizard mindset. And so there's like the coolest thing you could do in that moment, as you're like starting to become dizzy and you're like, okay, I'm being triggered, rage or fear, whatever it is, emotion that's coming up, you're triggered, right? I need you to like reach out and just grab onto awareness, like aware of yourself. You literally have to train a part of yourself to maintain a watchful eye over just the experience itself. This person is this watchful eye is not here to change anything. It's also extremely difficult to change your neurological pathways in your mind to react to situations like different till you're like a completely new person. When that same old challenge comes to your face, you've literally retrained your brain to react differently. And that can be like super powerful because not a lot of people are capable. Not that they're not capable, they're absolutely 110% capable of this. Not a lot of people practice this. And I want to like get it out there that this is a really healthy practice. What it takes to get on the other side of that mountain or molehill is it's working on your weaknesses. And one way to recognize your weaknesses is anytime you're triggered, anytime you're put in a fight, flight, or freeze response, anytime you talk shit on another person, anytime you want to cuss at another person. These are like your inner weaknesses coming to the forefront. And just like I was saying earlier about the earth, is like a lot of this stuff is coming to the forefront for us to work on, for us to become aware of. Because as long as it stays in the background, it's still controlling us, but we can't actually access it. And so it's so important to keep that conscious awareness present. It does literally 50% of the work for you by just having more clarity and awareness about what you're experiencing. Because when we're triggered, I want to say for most of us, if not all of us, is like our memory kind of goes out the window. If you try to think back to an experience and you can't explain it, like you can't describe it, you don't remember all the details, it's because that part of our brain just like goes out the window. And so it's when we can capture that awareness and bring it in and just like be present to this immense wave of emotion and physiological responses that are like pulsating through our body, like Spider-Man when he was just bit by the spider. It's like, you're like, oh my God, something is crazy. If you can maintain that awareness, it does like 50% of the work is done for you by just the fact, because then like you have this, is it like the subconscious? What is it? You have this whole side of you that is rooting for the benefit of you and in constant programming to better and better and better yourself. And I know it's hard to believe for some of us who have another program running that's beating us down because they're in constant war with one another, and that's fun. But bringing that presence and that awareness to your triggers is going to do 50% of the work for you. Okay, so then there's this like third aspect that I want to talk about, right? So we've got the person who's going through the experience, the bitten by the spider, what is going on, I'm seeing red. And then you got to bring in that awareness, that just observation, just that watchful eye, just that presence, just that I'm going to stay here as hard as it is to want to disconnect from my body right now, my brain, just like, I don't want to think about this. I don't want to remember this. I'm gone. Mentally, emotionally gone. Nope. Come right back. Stay right here. Stay right here. Stay right here. Then the next step, after you've kind of at least done that to the point where you're aware that you're aware, you're aware that there's an awareness, your next step would be to practice and build up this side of yourself that is your like inner badass, okay? Your inner person who stands up for you, your inner person who talks sense to you when you're at war with yourself in that moment. And for me, I really did have to work on this person, and I still will forever work on this side of myself, somebody who's just like allowed to come in, or I don't give a fuck if I'm allowed or not, I'm coming in. That side of myself will come in and say, the complete opposite of what I'm feeling right now or what I'm experiencing right now. So as crazy as it may seem, and you're like going through something like immensely hard, like maybe somebody's like yelling at you or confronting you or being a jerk to you, like they're not physically pop, 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 so you're not in like survival mode quite like necessarily, right? You're like, they're not touching me, but I'm triggered. I'm maintaining awareness. And now there's this other side of me that has to be the voice of reason. And I want you to like say to yourself the opposite of what you're feeling. So even if you're home alone or if you're out in public, say this like to yourself, like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. This is going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. Or as your awareness starts to grow and you start becoming aware in the moment of the narrative that's going on in your system, like what story is going on, and then say the opposite. So like you may have your inner mom or dad or teacher, grandpa, grandma, grade school bully in your head telling you you're worthless, telling you you're ugly, telling you you're going to fail. Well, if you can become more and more present and aware as you're experiencing this, it is now time to unleash your inner badass. And even though it feels like you're lying to yourself in that moment, I don't give a fuck. You have to say this to yourself. You have to say, I am beautiful. No, I am going to make this. No, it's okay. I am strong. I don't give a fuck what you think. I am strong. I don't give a fuck what this person thinks. I am strong. Because nobody else is going to do that for you. Nobody else is out here going to save you, build you back up, even though they were all so good at tearing you down. It doesn't work the same when you have to build yourself back up. You have to build yourself back up. You have to be responsible for your own well-being, for your own stability, be accountable for your own neurology and rebuilding those neural pathways to respond to situations better and better and better and better. Like it just gets better, 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 better. And then before you know it, you're like starting to go after those things that you were always afraid to go after, that you like think about late at night, that you want to do, people you want to meet, projects you want to start, activism in your community, saying that thing to your partner, leaving that toxic friendship. Like pretty soon you start to gain the awareness and the bravery that it takes to respond to your external life. Because that's what they say. What they say is true. It's like as above, so below. As it is, externally, it is internally. Like your external situation is completely a mirror and built upon the way you think about yourself, the things you believe about yourself, and the things you believe about the world around you. It's mirroring it on the outside. So it's like these people who are so upset at the world and they're lashing out and they're going after others and trying to break them down in order to fix what they see is wrong, they're going about it backwards. They need to first solve the demons that are inside of them, and then their chemistry inside of their body will start to influence and impact the world on the outside of them. And they'll be able to revolutionize it. And so if all of us, it kind of seems funny to think about, if all of us had that mindset and if all of us were capable of doing that and we all did it like quickly, it almost scares me to think about what this world would be like. I'm kind of so used to the chaos of everything that it almost scares me to think about what the world would be like if it were in peace. And right there is an example of a projection that I have on the external world that is built inside of myself, that I have to work on myself, is like, when it scares me when there's peace. Like, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm only used to chaos. How can we be more open to receiving grace and magnetizing it? So if you're going to do all this work on yourself, I assume it's because you want your life to move in a direction that feels more fulfilling, more peaceful, more happy, more joyful, more like fun people, good people, healthy relationships, like more rewarding, bigger, better, badder, cooler, funner things in your life, right? So as I am moving that direction myself, one block that I have is the accepting of the peace that I'm asking for. It's kind of weird, and I can't illustrate, I can't put into words what it is beyond, I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid of being abundant in like money, and just good experiences in life. It's so new and foreign and different to me that it scares me. So that is also something I have to consciously work on as I'm fixing the triggers, or like fixing the triggers, what would be a better way to say, as I'm becoming a present and like with my triggers and facing them with new neural pathways that I'm trying to build. I also have to open up other neural pathways that I want for success, for peace, for joy. And so how can we be more open to receiving it? For me, all I have to do is make a conscious effort. All I have to do is a mindset. And so people can do whatever works for them. They can, like, for me, I'll write about it and read it over and over and over again. And watch the physiological response in my body come up that's in like tension with that. And I'll literally just like try to like, no, but it's not even like, no, it's like, I don't even fight that there's tension there, because like fighting tension with tension, it just compounds more tension. So it's like, I'm aware of it, but I'm also just like trying to create space in my awareness and my beingness for what it might feel like to have more of what I want that day, whatever it is that day, because like it's just about the practice of it right now today. It's just about opening up to it in our mind and in our heart. It's just about creating that connection to it, that flow to it, that's like, okay, yes, there's tension there. I don't necessarily have to take an axe to it. It's about focusing our attention more so on what it is that feels good and what it is that is right. Like Abraham Hicks says this a lot, where she's talking about magnifying the good. So focus on the good. And that's like a good way, that's like a slope to like literally compounding upon itself, like more and more good is like literally just focus on the good, focus on the good, focus on the good. And so that's what I'm trying to do as I'm trying to invite more of what it is that I want in my life by like creating a space of like, oh, it is safe to be in my life. Yes, I do want you in my life. And even though, and like reframing also, so it's like things that cause fear and tension, rather than attaching those so consistently every time, try to reframe it as like, this is exciting. Oh my gosh, it's exciting. It's challenging even. But again, we're trying to reframe. Challenges are good. Challenges are needed. They're needed if you want your life exactly as it is, and every little piece of it is just perfect as it is, great, awesome. You don't need this video. But if you're like watching this and you want something more or different or to change about your life, then accept the challenge that comes in for it, because like, believe it or not, you're always subconsciously asking for things, consciously as well, obviously, but you're always asking for things to come into your life. And life is answering you. Life is answering you in forms of events and experiences that challenge the parts of our brain and the parts of our belief systems and the parts of our body that are set up against what it is that we are asking for, against what we want. And it's the challenge is coming in to break down those belief systems. But you have to be the one to answer the call. You have to be the one to show up to the challenge. You have to be the one who becomes aware of the way you respond now and be a better person to yourself. I don't know how to design, whoever designed the science of life and the human experience is like, we're literally expanding and life is literally like, how do I want to say this? Life is coming at us. Like it's going to bring us all the things, like all the things we want, all the things we need, all the things we're asking for. But it's upon ourselves to change the way we experience life. We have to learn to embrace the challenges, the fear, the pain, and not let it completely flatten us. And don't get me wrong, it's great to be flattened. I love flattened days in bed where I just watch TV and order Uber Eats. Go Uber Eats. Yeah. It's like, but get up and try again. One thing I saw recently that was really awesome that I want to challenge you to do is think about your day in quarters. And so like, if you want to spend the whole day doing whatever, do it. But if you like are adamant about waking up today or tomorrow and making changes in your life so that your life starts to orchestrate itself and lift you up and put you in a place that you're like, hell yeah. Hell yes. Yes. I absolutely want this. I love this. This is my life. Yes. 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 If you want that, where was I going with that? Is like, think about your days in quarters. Is like, what if the morning's wasted and you're depressed and you're stressed and you couldn't do it. And let's say the next quarter, you couldn't do anything. The third quarter of the day, you want to, but you're not quite there. It's like, there's a final quarter of the day that's like, just get up and take a shower or just go get the mail or just do 10 push-ups or like 5 jumping jacks or like sit down and light a candle and write something about like nice about yourself, like anything. Literally, that's like the goal is to just jumpstart. The goal is to just kickstart. Start with just like a dab of ink and it will fucking spread, or a ripple in a pond and it will like ripple outwards. Like it just takes something so small to start yourself in the right direction. There's a lot of opposition and a lot of programming. And it's easy to stay down. It's easy to stay depressed. It's easy to stay in that job because it's too scary to get a new one. It's easy to stay in this relationship because like, fuck being alone, right? Like there's so much better on the other side. There's so much better on the other side. There's so much better on the other side. So like, the challenges will come and the towers will fall. And there's climbing to be done. And I want you to show up, but show up in a way that's like turns like the struggle into like a rewarding challenge and like stimulating your mind into becoming like a more badass you. Fuck yeah. Be grateful for everything you have. Absolutely. All the time. It's really hard it's really hard or near impossible to move into the next thing that you're trying to bring in without being grateful and more grateful and understanding that everything in your life was brought into you at another time when you were asking for something to come in. And so you have to be grateful for everything in your life, the challenges, amongst all the amazing things, all the beautiful things. Like, yes, be grateful for it all. Be grateful, be grateful. You don't have to be perfect. Don't be fucking perfect. Perfectionism is disgusting. It's just like mindsets It's just state of minds. It's just things to work towards. It's just, and just the fact and the idea that you're going to wake up one morning or tomorrow morning or today and decide that you want to work more towards a life that's like awesome or badass or like worth living. Know that you're capable of doing that. Know that you're 100% capable of doing that, and you deserve that. But you have to do that. I've had to do that, and that's challenging. But also, I would never do anything differently because where I am at now, you know how many times I've had to fucking restart? Restarting is such a blessing though, right? Find things to be grateful for, even though it feels like easier and more comfortable to stay in self-defeating and self-limiting beliefs and behaviors. You have the opportunity of living a completely different life if you're willing to get up and face the challenge. And either way, I love you. And you don't have to face this shit alone. Let's navigate that ship together.